Okay, we are now broadcasting live on YouTube, broadcasting live on Periscope, and let's share this out on Twitter and on Facebook. Oof, there we go. Okay, so welcome to the monthly Ask aois21 on the 21st. I am Keith F. Shovlin, publisher of aois21 Media. Now, if you watched these before, you may notice there's a slight change. As of 2 weeks ago, well, a full week ago, aois21 Publishing is now aois21 Media. We have evolved into an independent media company from being just an independent publishing company. The reason being, because of the popularity of our podcast and video series, we've decided to put more attention into them, not just into the books we are publishing, and therefore be a more rounded media company that not just looks at writers and readers and self-publishers, but books, audio, and video, and 3 ways people get their entertainment content. So that's why we went ahead and made that change. So as of, we filed paperwork with the state where we haven't received official word on that yet, but as of last week with our 3rd birthday party, we are now aois21 Media. So thank you for watching either on Periscope or on our YouTube page, aois21.com/YouTube, youtube.com/aois21pub, or periscope.tv/aois21. You guys are awesome. Thanks for watching. If you're on either of them, see some of the other great videos we posted on Periscope. We live streamed yesterday as I was setting up for the Gaithersburg Book Festival. So that was your chance to watch what actually goes together when we're putting together our table display. And then afterwards, that 1-hour video we shared on our YouTube channel in a much compressed form. Oh, hello in Argentina. How are you this evening? I think you're about, what, an hour ahead of us here? It's 8:30 here in the East Coast of the United States. Okay. Please excuse the cough. My allergies have been acting up lately, so. But, and I will occasionally have a sip of water. So with the evolving format of aois21, the Ask aois21 webcast is also evolving, whereas before I would only talk about books and writing books and editing books and publishing books, which I'm still comfortable with doing. Any questions you have about writing a book, editing a book, marketing, reviewing, publishing books, send them along. You can tweet to us at aois21 or just tweet with the hashtag AskAois21 and we'll see it. And I will do my best to answer those questions here on the live webcast. But now I'm also willing to take questions on podcasting and creating video series for YouTube, not just individual videos, but a whole video series where you actually have, whether it's a series of presentations or if it's a plot or something you're trying to follow along, just any questions you might have about outreach, about guidance on format, structure. If you want to start something, if you want to start a podcast, feel free to ask me. We have 8 podcasts going for aois21 now. We're going to be launching a couple more in the fall. And we are now doing podcast production for service. If you need help with podcast production and have the income, feel free to contract with aois21 and we will produce your podcast for you. We could do audio editing. We could do voiceover, add in music, and we could even upload it to a host site. Make it all nice, easy to use. So that be sure to check us out, aois21. We have a great audio staff. It's growing every day. It's headed by Chief of Audio Production, Zach C. Cohen, and he's been doing a great job since he took on the role over a month ago now. And we are more than willing to help anyone else out there that want to get into podcasting. I've been saying that the old line was video killed the radio star, but I'm not saying, but internet has brought it back in the way of podcasting. So any questions you might have about books, about podcasting, about video series, send them along. I'm here to answer them. Let me just check real quick on the Twitter feed. on the tweets. Doo-doo. And yep. Do-do-do-do. And okay, nothing so far. That's okay. But we'll be keep on watching. So, like I was saying before, yesterday was the Gaithersburg Book Festival. It was a little bit of a colder day than we would have liked for late May, especially since it was like 90 degrees on Wednesday. So being in the high 60s and cloudy wasn't exactly the best, but it was better than last year when it was pouring down rain. But we would like to just be a little bit warmer, maybe get just a few more people out, because I know 2 years ago when we first went to Gaithersburg, it was a beautiful, sunny, hot day. And there was just a huge, humongous crowd going all day long. The only thing that was bad about that one was that we had a huge torrential downpour right at the end of the day. So they actually shut down an hour early 2 years ago because this rain was coming. Now, last year, it was just raining all day long. And it was just trouble when we went to get out of there because it was trying to get out and not get everything wet and trying to balance everything didn't work out too well. But I mean, we love going to book festivals. Love getting a chance to meet people. I had some wonderful conversations with people yesterday, not only about their own book projects, but also some people interested in doing podcasting and things that they want to do and things they're trying to do when starting a podcast series or how they can promote them. Now, we here at aois21, we focus a lot on social media promotion, whether it be posting on Facebook or Twitter or Pinterest, LinkedIn. Yes, we actually use LinkedIn. I've had some success with it. But just building off of that, seeing the benefits as far as we can get on free media, on social media, and then growing from there, doing advertising campaigns on those social media posts, and then reaching out to the larger media markets, whether it be newspapers, radio, or such. So in the case of one example where we've reached out, we had Eileen Vega, author of Dating as Told by the Modern Whore. She decided to promote her book by doing a podcast series, Sex, Vexed, Perplexed. Podcast series was going great, and we had the opportunity to option it to an internet radio station. So not only is her podcast, where she's promoting herself and her book, getting played and getting good, solid numbers as a podcast, but then people are listening to it live once a week on an internet radio station. So that's just an opportunity that came up because we decided to take podcasting seriously as a way of promoting our books. And then someone was listen to a podcast, decided that they wanted to hear more of it, and we got her on the radio. And that's included not only rebroadcasts or past podcast episodes, but a live episode every 4 weeks where she takes call-in questions. So that the live episode was actually this past Thursday. They had a bit of technical difficulty because of a power outage, but still, it's been a great opportunity for Eileen. And if we could do that with more of our podcast hosts or more of our authors, we would absolutely love to do that. It's all about cross-promotional opportunities when it comes to podcasts, because I know personally, I listen to well over a dozen podcast series, and a lot of the ones I listen to because I heard about them on other podcasts I was already listening to. Like I started listening to the Nerdist podcast, and then they had on voice actor Rob Paulson, and he started talking about his podcast series, Talking Tunes. So then I started listening to Talking Tunes as well. There was a new marketing podcast series that started up called Marketing Agents. I started listening to that. It has since rebranded as the Agents of Change podcast. And on that, they started talking, the host talked about some of the podcasts he listened to. And I listened to some of his guests come on. So when a couple of the guests started doing a podcast series, I listened to that. Who am I conversing with? Well, I'm conversing with the World Wide Web. It's basically, I start off these webcasts with just talking extemporaneously, and then as questions come in, I do my best to answer them. So I started listening to Marketing Agents. How so? Well, since this is the first time we've been doing this webcast since we made the change to being a media company and not just a publishing company, I decided that our main topic would be talking about ways to do promotions of a podcast series. So that's where I'm starting out with talking about cross promotion. So I started listening to the marketing agents, and they had on a couple guests. And when a couple of those guests started their own podcast series, started listening to that one. And then the host was talking about podcasts he listened to, and that led to me listening to the excellent Dan Carlin Hardcore History series. And then, of course, I really like Dan Carlin, so I started listening to his second series, Common Sense, as well. So I may start out with like 4 or 5 core podcast series I listened to, but through the cross-promotional ability, I picked up all these others I was listening to. And that was something that's, I mean, it's a lot of podcasts to keep up with, but I do pretty well. Oh, okay. Well, a podcast is like a radio show, but it's released on the internet. Okay. I know. Yeah, we personally do 8 podcast series ranging from, we have a poetry podcast where it's recorded poetry, author reading their poetry and then discussing the reasoning behind it. And we put these up every 3 weeks, and it's like a radio show, except internet-based, free, and easy to access. Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad I could be of help. Any other questions you have, be sure to ask, because we're not only talking podcasts. Primarily, we started as a publishing company, so we're talking books, we're talking podcasts, we're talking video series. Where do I see it? Well, do you mean podcasts specifically? Because there's the main places that host podcasts. You have them on Apple iTunes, you have them on Google Play, you have them TuneIn, Stitcher Radio, Audible has started doing podcasts. Let's see, our podcasts, you can find them all listed at media.aois21.com, media.aois21.com. All of our series are there, and we can be found on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn, and some of our series also are on YouTube. And like I said, one of our series is on WDLS Internet Radio. We host most of our series through Podomatic. Our poetry podcast is hosted by SoundCloud. My favorite movie, I have to say, Citizen Kane. Oh, hey, well, there's nothing wrong with a Dewey Decimal System. I work at a library full time, so I can tell you there's nothing wrong with the Dewey Decimal System. Oh, well, you have tremendous opportunity to catch up, and there's a lot of people that are even farther behind you. Yeah. Oh, I agree. I had heard about how good of a movie it was for years, and I watched it for myself. And I mean, everything about Citizen Kane I really love. I love the story. I love the cinematography. The acting is really on point. And then the history, the story itself, what it's inspired by, what went into making it. And all in all, I love everything about it. Of course, it does have a knock against it that there are some people that I'm not particularly a fan of that also consider it their favorite movie, but I'm going to let that pass because it's such a good movie. I wouldn't want to let that tarnish how good of a movie it is. So, okay, so I know, so getting back to, well, if, like I said, any more questions you have, send them in on Periscope, send them in on YouTube, tweet to us at aois21 or with the hashtag #ASK21, and I'll be sure to do my best to answer them for you. Now we have, like I said, we have 8 podcast series. A lot of them started as a case of where we had our, I've written privately my whole life, never showed anyone but sisters. They insist I should publish. Well, I mean, I haven't read your work, but I'm going to say your sisters are probably right. So I want you to just, well, consider what you're comfortable with. I know personally here at aois21, we're storytellers. We like to tell good stories. So if we find a good story out there, which doesn't have to be a narrative, it could be poetry, it could be nonfiction. Oh, well, there's a lot of good opportunities out there. If you visit, I'll tell you specifically, serving my own self-purpose, you go to my website, aois21. We have a self-publishing arm called ePress21 where we offer free publishing consultation. You can set up a time, give me a call, and we could talk through your options of what you can do to help get your work out there. Now, if you've written anything long form, the books that some people can work at, if it's short form like short stories, poetry, and essays, we have an avenue for that too. Either make it in a collection that can be published, or we have our annual literary magazine, the aois21 Annual, where we publish individual pieces, individual short stories, poetry, that no more than 3 submissions per person. And we have that open submission starts August 1st, with the annual coming out October 1st, and it is a fully digitized a literary magazine. In other words, there isn't a print copy, it's an electronic magazine, and that way we're able to keep the cost low, and 2, allow us to really explore the limits of what we can do with electronic media, because we can not only have the written word of a poem, but we can also then have the audio of that poet reading that poem, and video of, say, some people have wonderful images that we've been sharing with, but then you can have video of, like last year we had a video of rolling waves coming in on a beach along the Atlantic Ocean. Obviously not as grand as the waves in the Pacific, but still. I have a children's story character that over 25 years has had many wild adventures. Oh, fantastic. Well, definitely stop over at aois21, because we're in the process of really refining our children's things. So my nieces and nephews keep asking for more. Well, obviously, you've got a fan base already. I mean, it's just your nieces and nephews, but that's the start. And yeah. But yeah. Oh, good. No, I'm not Joey Boots' brother. My name is Keith Shovlin. I'm publisher of aois21 Media. And actually, I don't know who Joey Boots is, so sorry. Okay, Howard. Nice to see you. Oh, you're welcome. I try to get on every month and talk about something that helps people. And usually, most months, I find somebody that wants to have a good conversation or has questions. And the whole point of this webcast is reaching out to as wide of an audience as possible, because there are a lot of people out there like you that have written, that have produced something, that don't know the next step. So no, I don't recommend porn. Sorry. I'm not saying that I haven't seen porn, but I don't personally go about recommending it. That could. It all depends. Some people could use some people couldn't. Some people already have more than enough on their own. Yeah, but who's to say? Everyone has their own opinions. I know there's stuff I may like that others may not. I mean, to each his own. Nah, trying to keep this PG here, so we'll stay away from that part. Hi, how you doing? Sorry, I try to read the text as it comes in. If you send something and I don't catch it, I apologize for that. I do my best to try to pay attention when things come across the screen. And of course, we are broadcasting Periscope and YouTube. I'm doing great. It's been a nice day. I spent most of yesterday outside, and today I got a good sleep, so everything's good. Oh, if you feel that way, I mean, I've enjoyed a lot of good PG movies out there over the years. I mean, obviously there are a lot of good PG-13, and well, like I said, it's all to your own personal opinion. So, it was a good movie. Milo Notice. Yep. All right, let me just check real quick on the Twitter. Yeah. Yeah, don't limit yourself just based on the rating. I mean, PG, there's been a lot of good PG movies over the years. But I remember hearing there's this great movie that came out in 1993 called Sneakers. starring Robert Redford and Sidney Poitier and a bunch of other great actors. When they were done with the movie, no, I'm not related to Benji Bronk. They came out, finished the movie, they went to get rated, and it got a G rating. All right. And the G rating, and they're like, no, this is a serious adult film. We didn't want it to be a G rating. So they went back and recorded certain scenes and added in some swearing just to get it up to a PG. And it's a great movie. And the fact that it almost got a G rating, that's really kind of unfortunate. Excuse me. Now, of course, this whole broadcast will be available on the aois21 YouTube channel after we're done here. And it's only going until 9 o'clock. It's only a 30-minute webcast. Don't want to overstay my welcome online because, frankly, it wears out my voice if I have to talk for too long. Okay. So any other questions you have, feel free to ask them. We do this every month on the 21st at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. That's Eastern United States time, because we are based out of Mount Vernon, Virginia, on the East Coast of the United States. Well, our company's been around for 3 years now. We'll be doing these webcasts for over a year and a half now. After I was given the idea by a speaker I saw at a marketing conference up in Portland, Maine, back in 2015. I believe it was 15. So, oh yeah, Portland, Maine's a beautiful area. So, yeah, make sure everything's still running all right. Yeah, I know we started just doing YouTube, and then when Periscope came out, we jumped full on into Periscope. We haven't done Facebook Live yet. And frankly, because I've just been happy with Periscope getting good results, so I've been too quick to make that jump over. And plus, usually we've got, the laptop running with YouTube and the phone working with Periscope. Oh, you as well. Thank you for joining us. Good night. And I don't think they'd allow me to do Facebook Live and YouTube on the same camera at the same time. So, but this is one of our video series we offer from aois21. We have 2 principal video series. This is they're both monthly. This one coming out on the 21st, half an hour, talking about books, and now talking about podcasts and video series. The other one is called Creative Speaking. It goes out on the 14th of the month. And what we do there is it's an author interview series. We have our creatives, our aois21 authors, and we came up with a list of 5 stable questions, and we recorded several authors answering those questions, and we break it up, and each month it's a different author answering one of those 5 questions, and describing their book, describing what they do, why they started writing, describing what they like to do when they're writing, and what conditions are best, describing their influences. So that way we have, we record at one time, we get an author doing all of those questions, and then that's 5 months of content there. And that's one thing you can do with some video series. That's one thing you could do with podcasts. I know we have a couple podcasts. There's I Stand with host Michael B. Judkins. He recorded several interviews over the course of a couple weeks. And then we've been releasing an interview every week. And then it's going to switch to monthly soon. We have another podcast where the host recorded it when she goes on break. She records a bunch over winter break, a bunch over spring break, a bunch over summer break. And then we release it every 2 weeks. Some are guest episodes where she has on guests. Some are episodes by herself, just talking about single topics. So that's one thing you could do if you're wanting to start a podcast. Try to plan out where you're going with it. And if you can, bank content. Because I know with our poetry podcast series, when we first started out, we had the first 12 or 13 episodes already recorded, ready to go, because we were just going through the poetry work of our various poets. And each one recorded 4 poems. So once I had 3 people recorded, then I had 12 episodes of content. And since that was being released every 3 weeks, 12 episodes times 3 weeks, And then we added in guest episodes interspersed, and then we started a thing called Creative Inspiration, where some of our other authors who aren't poets got a chance to read poetry that inspired them. So all of a sudden, instead of having those 12 episodes plus those other in-between things, easily increasing it to almost 20 episodes banked. Then 20 episodes every 3 weeks, that's 60 weeks. That was more than a year of that podcast already planned out ahead of time. And then over time, we added two more poets. So there was 8 more episodes to come out. We added more guests coming in. Some of our other creatives had poetry they had written. We decided to add holiday episodes where we had one of our authors would step up and read like The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe, or Stomping by Woods on a Snowy Evening by Robert Frost. All kinds of things like that to really stretch it, not stretch it out, but all kinds of great content, because poetry, there's a lot of good poetry out there that sometimes just doesn't see the light of day. So that podcast really gave us a chance to shine some light on some good poetry, not just from our own creatives, but from guests. And in fact, the next episode's coming up this Tuesday, and we have a guest episode from a guest named Eric Weiscott. Will be the first of 2 episodes we'll have with him. First episode this week, and then the next one I believe won't be airing until January, because that's how many we have planned out. That's a podcast that we're able to do a lot of pre-work on, and unfortunately, we did catch up when we ran out of stuff and we had less guests stepping up, but still we put great content out. We've been very happy with it. So all right, it is, by my check, 8:58. So now's your chance. Final chance. Last 2 minutes. Get your questions in. Periscope, YouTube, Twitter. Let me know. What do you want to ask? You writing a book? You want to write a book? You thinking about writing a book? You want a podcast? You started a podcast? You want advice? You want to do a video series? You want to get active on YouTube? You want to do good stuff? I'm here to answer your questions. We've had moderate success. I'm not going to say that we've had incredible success, because that wouldn't be true. But I've learned a lot of things, and while stuff may not have worked entirely for me, they could work for you. And you may have different opportunities. So definitely a lot of good things out there, and I just want to do my best to provide the best advice to help people, because there's a lot of people out there who have great stories, and they deserve to be told. They deserve to be out there. And how can you not want those stories to get out there? I mean, think of all the great books that they're out there to read, all the great movies to see, all the great songs to listen to, the great poetry. It's amazing to think that our language is so complex that so many things can be worded in so many different ways and really capture the human existence and really be transcendent and enlightening and delightful. Love the stories, save the stories, share the stories. That's what we're about at aois21. That's what we are here for, saving and sharing the stories. That's why we publish books, we produce podcast series, we produce video series, we publish a literary magazine, and also we walk to end Alzheimer's, because we want to save the stories. Save the stories. And it is 9 p.m. Thank you so much for watching me. Thank you for those that are watching on Periscope. That was a tremendous back and forth for the most part. You know who you are. I'm going to be honest there. But thank you for watching. This will be up on the aois21 YouTube channel afterwards. Thank you so much. This is Keith F. Shovlin, publisher of aois21 Media, signing off. See you next month.